Welcome my friends to a brand new video. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank you for clicking on my video. Let's begin with today's topic. Everyone has heard about the winter storm, the winter blast, the storm that pretty much paralyzed many states, including Texas. Few know about the impact it had on Mexico. Today we will be talking about how these two countries, the United States and Mexico, were affected. Also, we will be talking about what was foreseen by some and what could be coming in the future. The privatization of energy in the United States has turned into a failure for hundreds of millions of citizens in North America. The failure got predicted by President Andrés Manuel Lopez Obrador, Mexico's president. His insistence to turn Mexico into an energy independent nation to ensure absolute sovereignty had been criticized by other politicians. I am going to explain why energy independence is essential for any country. But in this case, we're talking about the US and Mexico. From February 15th to February 18th, 2021, when by this time the worst part of the storm had passed, leaving millions of victims and tens without life, who lost their life. The storm outcome will still be felt within the coming weeks in the US by the US citizens affected. The storm effects that affected two neighboring countries have demonstrated how the independence of any country, how the dependency of any country on a third nation can negatively affect citizens' life. Mexico, the northern part of Mexico, has reliance on US gas. And when this nation, the US, was affected by the winter storm, directly affected 10 states in Mexico in matter of hours. The winter storm had at one point actually affected every single state in Mexico, all 32 states that make up Mexico. Luckily, the southern part of Mexico is not privatized it's not privatized, and the middle part of Mexico, the current president is already trying to save or take back those sources or those energies that are privatized. So he's buying them back. The services, thanks to that move, could be restored quickly. They got up on running by February 17th. The government entity in charge of the electricity is called Federal Electricity Commission, while in the United States, in Texas, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Dakota, and all the other affected parts are still without gas, electricity, water. They are in a very difficult situation, and President Biden is trying to act quickly. He actually has described the state of Texas and other states under disaster. This means that the states will receive millions of billions of dollars in aid from the government for its recoveries. I have given you a very good picture of what we will be talking about at this point. So let's continue. When we heard the government will inject millions of dollars into the affected states for recovery, I'm sure citizens feel rejoiced, especially when the insurance company usually call this type of damages God's will, and they don't, and the household owners don't receive any compensation from the insurance companies. As mentioned before, this winter storm has demonstrated that human services should not be privatized. That's a total failure, a bust. Sometimes we forget. Some people by now may be thinking, oh, this is a communist, blah, 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 capitalism is the best, and this sort of things happen. But I'm going to try to show you the differences, what privatization does and what nationalism does, and how things can move differently. We're still, we're still feeling that privatization of health, right? Because if health would not be privatized in countries like the US, a lot of people could have got more help quicker without paying thousands of dollars. As a person that one person that I really admire, he says when we talk about privatization, we're not talking about a political theory association. We are talking about ethical reasons why it is not beneficial. And we are only talking about the risk of privatizing our society's resources, something that we need on our everyday life. Friends, if you do not know, the state of Texas is a state 100% independent from all other types of energies. The state is fully supplied through private companies. These companies don't have any connection with companies outside of Texas. For example, Tennessee. They don't have connections with any companies in Tennessee. The gas pipe in Texas was affected, including oil pipes, and water pipes. So when these pipes burst or busted, these companies couldn't call any parent company to send any more supplies. They were pretty much on their own. They were isolated. The entire state was left without any energy. These companies control the entire Texan state monopoly, which caused 77 counties were left in dark ages pretty much. The states in northern Mexico, such as Monterrey, Chihuahua, Tamaulipas, were also affected because they receive gas from Texas. And these states, Monterrey, Chihuahua, Tamaulipas, they supply gas to other states more southern from them. So those states were also affected. States like Tepic, Guadalajara, Zacatecas, Durango, right? But thanks to the recovery that Lopez Obrador has done from taking some of these energies from private companies or rescuing them, they were able to get things going again. But let me tell you, my friends, when your country buys energy from a third country, you're always going to pay twice as much. So it's going to cost more to the nation, which is going to cost more for the citizens, On Monday, after the Federal Electrical Commission restored 62% of Mexico's electrical heating system in the northern states, which they were freezing, which is areas where they don't know about the cold, they don't know about the snow, right? So, but thanks to some of the energy, the southern part of the country not being privatized, the electricity was able to get back on running. President Lopez Obrador again brought up the importance of energy independence. Mexico and any other country with its own natural resources should invest in energy development. The consequence of the winter storm in Texas was felt in the northern part of Mexico. Now let's talk about the financial support. What does it mean for Texans? President Joe Biden has declared a state of emergency for Texas. Hundreds of billions will be injected into financial support, but this is not going to the people. This money is going to the companies that supply the energy. More than 100 million people continue on the 23rd of February to live without water, electricity, gas, and even their food supply was affected. This money that will be injected to Texas will not go to the citizens, my friends. The federal government of the United States will give this money to the private companies so that they can fix everything that got ruined by the storm. But what about the citizens? Nothing yet for the citizens. Nothing has been said that it's going to the citizens. And it's quite unfair because these companies a lot of the time build their companies using taxpayers' money. And this is something that my head blew up when I heard this. Citizens will be paying $11, $14, $15, $16, $17,000 bills, and they're saying that that's a way to help people affected. But the reality is that this money is going back to the private company in a way for them to recover the cost of what they're going to fix. But at the same time, the government is already giving them money, so there's no reason for them to pass the cost on to the consumer.